I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams.
What is the path to awakening supposed to look like? To feel like? How do you know if you are on it? We ask these very sacred and sometimes vulnerable questions to many different women from all walks of life. A conversation that needs to be shared and heard. I'm Jo Hendy.
I'm Amanda Parker.
And welcome to the Girl Awakening podcast. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Jo. How are you?
I'm okay. My voice may go in and out today. It's not as powerful as it usually is.
I'm going to project extra today to make up for it, my darling.
Absolutely. You will be holding the fort.
Oh.
So today, once again, we have another very special guest. Very special guest.
Yeah.
Anjali Woodford is from the Gold Coast Women's Health Network, which is a highly driven health and wellness professional website, space,
community.
network, yeah. That's there to empower the general public with their expert information so that they are capable to make better health choices throughout their life. They recognise the power of knowledge, and Ange, the founder, who's with us today, has seen women in countries like Nepal come across many health challenges, abuse, discrimination, etc. And Anjali herself has lived most of this experience, which we are going to talk about today, which is really special.
So special. Welcome, Anjali.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jo and Amanda. It's my first podcast.
Yay! We feel
Thank
very
you
honoured.
for opening up the new door for me.
Yeah.
And I truly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Wow.
It's such a gift.
Yeah, we feel really honoured. Thank you for
much.
joining us and being brave, you know.
Yes. Until last year, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't. And I had to find that, well, I think everything was connecting the dots. You know, I couldn't just jump or start running right away. I had to take a baby steps along the way to be where I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself, thank you for sharing that, because I think that in itself is a very big theme for a collective group of people at the moment. I myself have been reflecting on the very thing just in this last week that you just shared. I feel like that is it's almost like a maturing point for people who are doing work in community.
Yes.
Or wanting to create community, or the pivot point that we've been sharing recently, where it's all about the intensity of being in the experience, and it's a turning of how that experience has gifted you, and now you're turning that out into the world for others who are also in that, have been in that space or in that space.
Yeah, when you're at the situation, it might not feel that way. You know, I would never wish someone to go through what I went through, or the girls in Nepal goes through to become powerful, or become, like the amazing person. But at that time it wasn't funny. I had to go through what I had to go through, and I was from privileged family, but still I had to, as a girl and woman, I had to struggle. Back home everyone says it's normal. You're a woman, so you just suck it up and just deal with it. You do not speak up. But for me, I didn't feel normal.
No.
For me, no, this is not right. I spoke to my friends, I spoke to my aunt and all the, families, they're all struggling. And I said, don't you want to stand up? Don't you want to do something about it? And they would say, no, this is what we do being a woman and being a wife, being a girl. This is what you do. You just sit down and take it all in.
We might rewind a little bit just so our listeners have a bit of context.
Thank you for creating that space for us to walk into.
Absolutely.
But we will.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's going to be a big space.
So we might go back to the beginning just so people understand what we're talking about, because it is about your awakening, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, it's how.
Absolutely.
That's our first question. And like for our listeners, like if you have seen us on YouTube and enjoying the experience on YouTube, Anjali is from Nepal.
Yes.
That's your cultural heritage and your birthplace.
Yes, I was born in village in place called Lumjung, and then later on we moved to city because my dad decided to educate me, but my parents had to go against the rest of the family to educate the girl. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, if my mum and dad hadn't changed that, I wouldn't have been here today.
Yeah.
So, I'm very grateful for that.
How beautiful that your dad did that.
Yes.
That's really going against the grain, isn't it, of the cultural beliefs there. Yeah.
My mum was, sorry, man.
I was going to say, you must have been quite a special man.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we all have, but
Yes.
but on that note, he was always very, he gave me that opportunity for me to be able to grow and to see, because my mum was always, she stayed in a village and he studied in the city. So they were always, yes. Because we didn't have any hospital in the village.
Yeah.
So we had to keep going 2 or 3 days walk and then in the truck, and then we get to the city to do the checkups, and my dad is like, oh, that's it.
And you needed to go to the hospital? Were you not well, or?
Yes, in a village we had like a, not homeopathy, what do you call it?
Herbalist?
Herbalist or witch doctor or whatever you call it.
Shaman.
We
Love
had,
that.
yes, we have all those, but he would, like I would have really bad stomach pain, and he would give me like a mantra or whatever, and he would put the ash, and then put in the water and swirl it and give me the drink. I would drink it and it would go away for a couple of months.
Wow.
And then come back again.
Yeah.
But then I had to go to and it was reoccurring constantly. So my dad said, come to the city and let's have a look. And that just, I think that gave him the courage to, while you're in the city, we might as well start school.
Wow.
But my grandma and my grandpa, they were not happy. Why girls need to go to, school. Yeah,
were you the only girl?
In that generation?
Or in your family, yeah.
Yes.
So there was boys or just
3 girls.
3 girls, okay.
Yeah, my mum had 1 boy and she miscarried him.
Oh.
So just having 3 girls. And one time I was, I think around 10 years old, one of the gentleman, a neighbor came to me and, you girls are so, your family is cursed. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, I feel sad for you because you don't have a boy. You don't have a boy in the family. And I was raging inside at that time. I was little and, my legs are going like this. And it's like, you don't know what girls can do, what I can do,
Wow.
That anger inside me.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't do anything because he's male and the girls are supposed to be good girl and always stay quiet and don't look at the eye. So when I came overseas, I struggled to look in eye to eye because that is disrespectful in our the culture.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that.
So what is the belief within the family or within the culture, I suppose, around birthing girls or to birthing boys?
It's still, back in the days, yes, like when the first one is born, that's okay.
Yeah.
But then when constantly having a girl, I heard the rumor that my dad was getting forced to get married to another woman because we didn't have a boy. But and dad was kind enough, or whatever happened, he didn't. But they always used to say, it's okay, you girls are everything for us. And he did, he kept the promise. I was the first girl to be able to do bachelor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the village and the whole village. I was the only one to do the highly educated.
So how would it look in another family?
My friends, they got married when they were 16 and they went to the college in and out, but they didn't really finish it.
Okay.
And then because we were in a city, so lots of girls, they did go to school, but they didn't quite finish it. But in the village, the girls, the early marriage
Okay.
is high. My first marriage proposal was when I was 14.
Wow. And is this to someone that you knew or someone you didn't know?
No, it's arranged marriage.
It is arranged
Yes,
marriage.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Until today,
Yes.
it's arranged marriage.
Wow.
And then my first one was when I was 14, but luckily the gentleman didn't like me.
Good.
He said, at that time it really hurt. He said, I was, of course, I had to come with a tea to serve, and they watched me. How do I serve? How do I walk? How quietly I walk. The quieter you walk is the prettier or whatever in that list, and then I was going around the corner behind the wall, and he says, oh, she's ugly, I don't want her.
Oh my goodness.
And I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
My heart broke,
Yeah,
I was
I
like, oh my God, he says I'm ugly,
Yeah.
and then
Crushing but setting you free at the same
Yeah,
time.
I was just going to say that there's another plan involved
Yeah.
here.
yes, so but that is what I was talking about earlier. It's not fun to be at the moment,
Yeah.
but then I wouldn't have been here today.
Yeah.
So because I was also reflecting, like, obviously that 10-year-old who was stamping her feet and in rage at the judgment of the neighbour.
Yes.
Also the girl who been not very healthy and has the opportunity to go to the city and have her eyes open wider.
Yes.
And given the chance to have an education.
Yes.
Did you embrace that? Was that something that just...
Education.
Yes. Did that create something in you, or was it still hard work, or was it still a journey for you to...
Yeah,
to
I
do
could
that?
never fit in with the girls. I could... I was the not so good student, so I would always be kept at the end of the corner of the class, so the teacher didn't have to deal with me. So it was like 60 kids, and at the back, no one is going to notice me, right?
Yeah.
And then during that time, all those. So what was the question?
About was
Oh,
going
yes.
to, it had been going to school. Was it like a thrive? Well, you're already describing it wasn't really a thriving environment for you, but another hardship. But did learning things excite you?
Not really, not at that time, because learning was all about getting the grades.
Yes.
It wasn't about and mostly I went to the girls' school. My parents sent me to the girls' school. The first one, my dad was very excited. I think he sent me to English speaking school, and I was speaking dialect. Not even Nepalese. I was speaking dialect, and I'm like from dialect to Nepalese to English, and he kept me there for a year. And he was.
Did you speak English?
Yes, my dad. Yes,
Was
but
educated.
yes, but he's the only highly educated in the village as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, he is very respected, and and so. And after a year, he sent me to a really prestigious girls' school. But that school is specifically designed for the girls to become a great housewife, as well as
How kind of them to create a
Yes.
school for that.
as well as educated.
Yeah.
Right. It's great. So people, if they find a girl from that school, wow, we got a girl. But then you're not allowed to work or anything, but you're educated, as well as you already learned all these skills, knitting and cooking, and I was in boarding school, so we had to learn to cook on fire.
Wow.
So we did cooked on a fire and all those things. I don't know if they do it anymore, but that is how we learned at that time.
So almost like a finishing school in a way.
Yeah,
with
that's
education
like
as
a
a bonus.
what do they call that?
Deportment,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I've read stories around people like, I won't say the names, but politicians' wives, American politicians' wives, who went to schools in Europe because they were educated to be interested in subjects that would support their husbands' careers and potential husbands' careers and things like that. And it's almost like, I always say, like, the Nepalese equivalent, isn't it, of
Yes.
preparing a young girl to be a good wife and support their husband and create a family and
Yes, so that
know
was
enough
the
but not too much.
Yes, exactly. So if the girl speak up, it's like a bad omen or bad luck.
Yeah.
So when your wife starts speaking up, or when your girl starts speaking up, that's a no-no. So that's why I felt very helpless, to be able to. But at school, I was because I went through all the abuse along the way, and I got all my confidence starting to shatter, and I didn't have any, and the ability to make friends and all those things, I couldn't do that, and my mental health started to deteriorate. But then I didn't tell my family, or in a boarding school, right? Maybe we came home once every 2 months or something like that, or 3 months, and then for a weekend, and then parents wouldn't know, right? And my dad worked overseas, and he would come home every 9 years or 10 years.
Oh, wow.
At a time. Yeah, so my mum had a big responsibility.
So just so I can skip back a little bit. The boarding school that you're at, did I hear you mention that you were abused at the boarding school? And
No, not in a boarding school, but it's a girls' school.
Yes.
But when you go home on a long school holidays and things like that, I was sexually violated.
Yes.
By my own cousin.
Okay.
My mum would send me there, and she and I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But then she's like, oh, you're getting mad, like, why don't you want to go to a cousin's house, she would keep sending me there.
Yeah. You hear that story a lot when it comes to abuse, though, where the parents are sending the child somewhere into the fire, basically, but unaware of what they're doing. It's just such a common story. It's so sad.
I think because my mum didn't know, and I couldn't speak up.
Right.
I told her many, many years later.
Yeah.
But at that time, the way she could protect me was like, please don't tell anyone. Yeah. Otherwise, you won't find husband. So,
oh, wow.
Because it's taken as a dirty dish or dirty person. Yeah. So
that's so horrible.
And it's and then after I start losing my confidence, and it start happening everywhere, because I think those people, they sense you, they see you are not confident, you won't be able to and those people, obviously, they would never pick on the person who is like, confident and like that, otherwise they would get told off, right? So I just keep happening, and my mental health start degrading, and then study is the last thing. Yes.
So what you're sharing basically is that your a cousin was sexually violated you, but then, as you say, by the nature of how that impacted you mentally, emotionally, physically, other men started to take advantage as well.
Yes, because I'm
obviously vulnerable.
Yes, and I start feeling like, in my head, back of my head is like, one day I'm gonna get raped and I'm gonna die. It's constantly in that back of my mind, and that feeling of dirty, and I would go in a shower and wash myself, scrub myself for so long, and my mom is like, what's happening? You're so, and she was just, because she had to look after my cousins and the girls, and she had a lot to do.
And this again is sometimes the thing, as you're saying, Joe, like where the parent isn't available to you, to give you that safe moment to even experience a hug or refuge, or
or doesn't know how to handle that situation either. They're too afraid to handle the situation, or
they don't have the capacity to absorb it because of everything that's happening in their world as well.
Yes,
it's very disconnected.
My mum got married when she was 14, so she didn't have a childhood. She didn't know how to handle, or when you don't have the childhood, right, you didn't you don't. My mum, she tried what she could, and my dad wasn't around, so and for her to keep me safe was keeping in a boarding school and keeping me quiet and all those things.
Would you describe the boarding school as a safe environment?
It was okay. There's always the get bullied for the one who doesn't
Hierarchy.
speak up.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a school where we didn't have running water in the toilet, so we will have to take a bucket of water with you when you go to toilet. So they, you know, hey, go and grab me, fetch me water. I'll be in toilet. Bring me my water.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah,
those
right.
kind of things.
Yes.
Or
The
wash-
tougher girls, and then
older girls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like the surviving way of
Yeah.
surviving in the so, and we were almost 300 girls, but we were like three or four teachers. That
Wow.
was it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so the
Wow.
senior girls, the
wild.
senior girls would be, you know, like a leader, and then of course because we cleaned and everything from bathroom to everything, dormitory and everything. So obviously maybe they didn't need that many staff, because we were
You were doing everything. Yeah.
yes,
The girls
so
were doing
we
everything.
were
Yeah.
brought up
You were
to
the-
we were getting trained to be a good housewife.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very.
Part of the education, basically, to have you.
It has only toughened me up.
Yeah.
Then
So how long
That's
were
so
you at the
huge.
boarding school for? Like what age did you leave there?
I was from year 3 to 10.
Oh wow.
Yes,
It's a long time.
yes.
And
Yeah.
from there to university to do the
Yeah,
bachelor?
uni. 11 and 12. We don't have schooling. 11 and 12 is separate. I was 11, so I did 11 and 12 separate, and then and after that I did the bachelor in hotel management.
Oh,
I
fabulous. Yeah.
I was so determined to my
yeah.
parents that I wanted to go away, so I went away to do my hotel management course. But schooling. But at the end of coming around year 10, I found this bunch of girls. I think they deserve a big credit for saving my life. The girls, they never left me behind.
Yeah.
Once I met them, because when you're in this depression mode spiral, you are so weird.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you want to go, and all of a sudden you have hundreds and thousands of feelings coming inside you. Oh, what happens if I get touched, or what happens if this or that, and you don't want to go out. And then the girls are like, they wouldn't leave me. They dragged me, and they would take me everywhere. And sorry girls, but they taught me how to lie at home.
Yeah.
Because I was constantly looking after my cousins,
Yeah.
and you know, and I just needed to get out, I guess, you know. But we didn't do anything silly. We learned to swim, we learned to skate, we learned all those things. But we were, being a girl, to go out was we were not allowed to go out and experience those kind of things.
Yeah.
Boys were,
Yeah.
but especially swimming is like, swimmers are so revealing.
Yeah.
So swimming was big no. So so we learned.
It's bizarre, isn't it? The opposition of, like, all the things that teenagers normally go out for, to have fun, be wild, be crazy, was already happening to you, basically, in a way that you didn't want to have happen.
Yes.
So just the sheer fun of being a young girl and a teenager and to play
Yes.
was why you were lying to get out with
Yes.
your friends.
Yes.
It's
And,
incredible.
Yeah, but you know, otherwise, because you know, I can't blame my family, because that is what this society is doing, right? So your girl is going out swimming, you know, oh, you poor thing, your daughter is downhill now, you know, all those things. But so we always, you know, the girl said, you don't have to tell your mom. And I am worst person to lie. So my friend is like, oh my goodness, do I have to teach you to lie all the time? Because I would be sort of like not lying, but then giving out the answers.
Yeah.
You know, my friend would say, don't tell my mom. Okay. Oh, by the way, we did not go for swimming. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's like Sheldon in the movie. It's like, I couldn't lie. I couldn't. And they were like frustrated sometimes. She's a bit dangerous to take us out with us.
Yes.
But
Did they fight? Were they the same age as you? Like, were they?
Yes, we were in the same grade.
Yes.
Same grade. But we all had a different, like, strange backgrounds, you know. And one of my friend came from a really privileged family, but I know, I feel like, should I share her story or not? But anyway, I'm not going to tell the name. So her dad married 4 women, and then so what happened, they were all trying to live together, but the last one, she was trying to, disrupt everything. So from acres of land, they had to drop down to the one flat unit.
Wow.
7 sisters.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
And then, and they were fighting every day. And she would come to me, and she's like happy as jolly person. I was like, how do you do it? And she said, you think you are the only one who is suffering. When she said that, I was like,
Wow.
like, oh my God, so those kind of things. And when she said, even the word impossible says, I am possible. I was like, for my really slow mind, she was drip feeding me like that,
Like
and
fires.
every time, and it would hit me. And I was like, oh, that's true, and then, it felt like I'm not the only one. And slowly, my mental state gotten better. And I think getting out of the house with the friends and, that support is, I think, so important.
Laughing. And
Yes.
being happy
little-
for a moment.
yeah, and I think
sparks of life.
with lots of women that we have on here talking about their awakening process, there's always an angel somewhere, or a few
yes.
angels that turn up at certain times
Yes.
that change the direction,
Yes.
of where you're going, or open your eyes up to something better. Or do you think that was a turning point for you?
That was definitely the
Yeah.
girls met.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking, at this stage?
16, is it? Year 10?
Year
15,
10 was, I was 17,
17.
something, 16, 17, around that. And we, and the girls, we're still friends.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes, some of them in England, some of them are back home. But we still, when I went back home 18 years later, I met them, so that was really nice. Yes, but the girls, and they literally saved me. Yes, because every second thought was like, I'm gonna die. And it was that, thought that it's hard to get out of sometimes.
Yeah.
But the girls, they, constantly going out and like that, laughing, and like you said, like having that enjoyment in life as a teenage girl, and that saved me, literally. Yes.
I feel like, as you say, those little drops that she gifted you with, like, a couple of years ago I went back to a school reunion, and when all of us were like, it was the years we were 11 and 12, and sitting around the table was like 12 or 13 of us, and every single one of us through that night shared something that was happening in our lives those times that nobody else knew about. And 3 of the girls were being sexually abused. Some of them, their parents were divorcing and going through lots of stuff. Some of us were having domestic violence experiences. There was so much going on at the table, and none of us had any idea. And some of the girls were the cool girls at school, and would have had, everyone was wanting to look up to them and things like that. And I feel like what you just shared then, having that opportunity to feel that you're being seen and that you're not alone, and just being understood as well, is such a life-saving, such a changing moment in itself.
Yes, because I constantly struggle to make friends, and I couldn't understand why I'm struggling to make friends, or am I like so weird, or why am I not fitting in? But that bunch of girls, they just embraced me, pulled me in, and then just we ran with it. And all my school life, I thought I don't like to say that word, DUMB. All my life I was like, oh my God, because I would barely pass every time. And when I went to the hotel management, I joined the school joined the college just a week before the exam.
Oh, wow.
And I came up with yes, because my parents wouldn't let me go away from the house to study.
Okay.
And I was reluctant. I was determined. And I came, in every subject, I came with 80 plus. percentage. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not dumb at all.
Yeah.
It was just something that I,
Love doing.
yes,
Yeah.
it was just, and so I'm like, oh, you're not, you know, I was just saying to myself. And so,
How did that feel? Like, just literally, I mean, even just you saying that, you can
Yeah.
feel
Yes.
like your energy
Acknowledgement,
changed.
yeah.
Just in
no,
yourself.
it's like, so that's why these days when the parent says, oh, my kid is useless and da-da-da, but then, and I say, maybe it's just not their interest, or
Yeah.
you know, but they will, and kids are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Right? They are constantly changing, so we should not put the label on them. For now they might be like that, and in future they might be a completely different person.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you just have to be patient and give them the love that you can and the support,
Yes.
and I think that they flourish better that way than putting the label on. And the kids, they take the label in.
Oh,
You
my
know?
goodness.
Well, we all have that experience, and I can recall like my sister being named the Joker in the family. Like, oh, you know, she's always a bit clumsy, or she'd always do something funny, and she would she embraced that role because it was a way of getting attention or being seen and recognised and things. And I don't think she particularly enjoyed being that person.
Yes.
But it was a way of.
Yes.
It shapes people, as you say, like, you know, when we label them, for sure. So when you went to university, that, like, what I'm hearing too is like you got better and better at being away from home, or being able to control the home environment in a way that suited you or served you better.
And I was more confident, and then you know, all those things that about myself, negative talks and all those things starting to go away, and I was more confident, and I had friends, and you know, I was like a cool kids and or whatever. But then at the same time there were girls that, you know, like when you become a cool kids and you want to be part of that, and then, you know, and they tease the other ones. But then I realized that is not the right thing to do. But, you know, you go through all this experience, but realizing that, you know, I was on the other side before, right? And what I'm doing now is literally I'm doing to myself. So I had to, you know, reading through that, but I had a great time. It was
at university.
Yes. And then after uni, I tried to. Am I supposed to go there?
Of
Yes,
course.
go there.
The other thing I want to ask too, just is, were you working? Did you have to find a job when you went to uni, or how like money for you? How was your parents still?
Yes, when we go to uni, parents does everything.
Yeah,
pays for everything, decides for everything, literally everything. So because the girls, they don't work back home. Back in the days,
okay.
I think it has. Last time when I went home this year, there were young kids working in a cafe, and that was great to see, the girls or boy or whatever. But back in the days, the parents, they did everything, and especially for girls, it is very. The girls don't work because you are cooking, cleaning, and sitting pretty and in a corner for your husband, not for making money.
Right.
So you did well to persuade your parents to support you in
get
that
there.
choice.
But it was a big step for them as well, because, you know, they have to hear all the people saying, oh, are you sure you're sending your daughter all the way there? Because, you know, because it is what happens if I make a wrong step and fall pregnant, or get, you know, have a boyfriend and all those things. It's a black spot in a family. You know, it's a name for the family, and she's the oldest, and she's the, you know, in the whole generation, I was the oldest one. So you're putting your name out there, sending your daughter away. So
was there many girls doing the same course?
No.
Okay.
No. I wanted to become a chef.
Yeah.
Because chef is men's job, right? And I was sent to housekeeping.
Oh.
So I don't want to make beds. So, well, I didn't, because of that. We were, I think, 3 or 4 girls, and then the rest of them were boys.
Yeah.
So I think we were 30. So rest of them are boys. So it's the girls, but not all the girls finished. They did, but then they didn't go after that. They didn't do anything else. But yes, but for me, after I finished the course, I didn't tell my parents that I got a job for myself.
Wow. Yeah.
I got the clothes, and I worked as a manager in it's a popular dairy cafe. So they produce their own dairy product, but as well as they made like a cafe, fast food cafe, and I worked as a manager there. And then my parents were like, at first, I don't know if my dad was he was always asking me hundreds of questions. I'm like, oh, you don't understand me, like I think I was like a typical teenage, but then my dad wanted me to know what I was exactly doing. Or he was always very protective. And I understand that, being a girl, he has to protect his girls, right? But I worked there for a little bit, but then after that, so I worked there for 1 year, 2 years, but I was constantly trying to find a job overseas to escape.
How did it feel earning money and receiving a paycheck and things like that?
It's like I can, but then at the back, we never see the money. You spending all the money. All the back at the, because I wanted. Is that
in your mind, or is it your family?
The family saying like, we don't see any money, or you. I was making $50 per month, but it was a big.
Wow.
5,000, $50.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, and he was a manager, $50 per month, and 5,000 rupees was a big back then. But I would buy stuff for my cousins and stuff for my friends, and my mom and dad always said, this girl is never going to say that. They would say, because I would give away money to my friends. Some of my friends were a little bit, they couldn't afford things, so I would give it out to them, or but I would never ask it back. My mum and dad is like shaking head, oh my god, this girl, I worry about her, but yes. And but during that time I was constantly trying to get a job overseas, but I couldn't succeed for a while, but but finally I did. And
how would you find out about these jobs? Like, is it through through the university, through the business that you were working in, or people's conversation? How do you find out about jobs overseas?
Because my uncle and my dad, they worked on the super yachts.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
So, and they would say every time when they're coming, I'm like, oh, we are they would call me, we are in Monaco today. Tomorrow we're going to be in Italy.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, are you just bluffing, or is it just for real, Because it's for us, well, we didn't know, how far the country is, or, we didn't know it's a driving distance, not like in Australia,
4 hours to another state. 6 hours to another state.
Yes. And so because of that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try getting job, but it took me, I keep applying for the, job, but then, I could never get a job because I didn't have English either. It took me 2 years, and one day I got a call saying, would you like to be a laundry girl? I was like, yes.
Yeah, I'll be anything.
I'll be anything.
Yes.
And it was after piles and piles of document, because the girls don't work overseas in Nepal, so we need extra documents to work overseas.
Where was it Australia, or was it where was it?
No, it was the boat that I applied for. It was in Holland, getting built in Holland.
Oh wow.
So I was applying for that job. And the another thing that for women, it's very strict because of the trafficking.
Yes.
Yes,
oh my God, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Because of that, the government tries to be really strict. But so we had to get so many documents. But my poor chief stewardess, my boss, she was so patient. She keeps sending me all the details and documents, and I was like, maybe they really want me. They're sending me all the documents, being so patient, Yeah, and that is how I got my job.
So it legit was a laundry job.
Yes.
Because it's funny when I have just recently watched this whole trafficking thing, and this is exactly how they do it. They lie to these women like yourself and say, we've got a laundry job, blah, 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 and they get them out there and they end up being sex workers. And
Take
it's
their passports
horrible.
and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go to India, Arabic country. India is like, there is not even border. So it's so hard.
Yeah.
And it's, and apparently I was talking to the Mark nurse from Destiny Rescue. He goes undercover.
Yeah.
So he told me that Nepalese girls are the highest in demand.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Really?
Wow. So did you know about this before any of this happened? No?
No, I knew because I was educated from educated families, so we did know we had a TV and all those things. So we knew that there are such things happening.
Yeah.
I think that's why they were being so strict. But at that time, I didn't understand why they were being so strict. Because you want to get the job.
Of course. Well, most women do, don't they? Because they think it's a way out for them. Little do they know.
Walking into another trap.
They're walking into a trap.
Yeah.
So did you go to Holland for this?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was yes, and I got the job, and then I got the marriage proposal at that time as well.
From Nepal and someone in Nepal. Okay.
And just before
of course you
I
did.
Which way will I go?
I was 26 years old then.
Gosh.
And then
So an old lady.
Yes, old lady, yes,
Wow.
literally. And then my mum was a bit angry because I didn't go get married.
Yeah.
But my dad said, well, we invested so much money in her study, so maybe give her a chance to,
Oh, my God, I love your dad.
maybe we might make some money.
She might have learned to had some fun with her money. Now she might decide to put some back into the family.
Yeah, because he used to, apparently on a boat when he worked, he used to get $500. And I was offered 1,500.
Wow, gosh.
So he was like, "Wowzers,
Well done.
it's a great opportunity." Yeah. So
Wow.
I managed to get out of there, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, where I'm going, but I'm just gonna go.
Wow.
How was that? Was it surreal, like to actually get to Holland and to start working?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Realize that this was the beginning of a new life.
Yes, I didn't know how to do the seatbelt on the plane
Yeah.
or the escalator.
Oh, wow.
I was, my suitcase is tumbling and people are watching me. Oh, what's she doing? And then I was, how you have to get in the, check in before you get to the another flight, the connecting flight.
Yes.
No, I was just waiting there nice and quietly.
Oh, no.
I got off the
Nobody had
plane.
told you.
Like a good girl.
Yes. And then the air hostess, the information desk, oh, you've been sitting here for a while, where you going? And I'm like, I just showed them the ticket because, I didn't know. I know how to read English, but the English is very minimal.
Oh, God.
And then,
Airports are just a whole different world.
Flights.
Yes, exactly.
And when I showed her the ticket, oh my God, you are supposed to go on a connecting flight. And I was like, what am I? Well, where do I go? And she told me literally, you have to go to the check-in.
Yeah.
You have only an hour left. You have to go to the other side.
Wow.
So yeah.
Another little angel helping you out.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess, yes. And when I got to Holland, and it was like the
my
jet
goodness.
trails, and my chief stewardess came to get me at the airport, and and she still tells me, Ange was like this.
I can imagine.
She was like my
The
big
world
sister.
is a big place.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
really
and I
just-
was like, and she said, oh my God, I was wearing this dad's t-shirt.
Was she Dutch or was she?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Dutch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but she was very abrupt, very straight.
Yeah.
But she is beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And she at the beginning she bought me fun. She would give me pocket money, and because for us it was like like $10, €10. I didn't know the value, and some days I would. Because the girls would go to different in a weekend, they would go on a bike ride, and Ange, do you want to eat something? I was like, I don't know if 50 euros would be enough for me to eat.
Yes,
50 euros, yeah.
Wow.
Because I
Yes.
literally for $50 rupees, we couldn't get much, right?
Yes.
I was so scared. And then the girls were eating just a euro 50 for this hot dog. Do you want it?
Oh, yeah, I can afford that.
But then I was vegetarian then, so yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Wow.
was a massive
Awakening.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, when I went there, it was the waterfront apartment.
Oh my goodness.
2 girls in each apartment.
My gosh.
And
Luxury.
yes, you look at the beach. And then when I went there, and the girls would say, so all the clothes were ready, and what brand shampoo do you want to use? What brand panty liner would you like to use?
Wow.
I was like,
Oh my gosh.
am I in a
Felt
hotel?
looked after, yeah.
I was in a hotel. It's just literally because it's the service industry, right? The girls would make sure when the new girls come, all the bed is made, everything is ready to go,
Yeah.
uniform all sorted. Yes, and so I literally felt like I was in a
Like a
five-star
princess.
Yeah.
5-star hotel. Yes,
Wow.
and it was incredible. Yes, and I was like a sponge.
Yeah.
I was
Taking
just
it all in.
learning everything, and then, I should say this funny incident. My company, they put me into sea survival course. So
I just realized I'm just thinking something then.
sea survival course, and then we did the course, and then at the last day we had to put in an immersion suit and then jump into the sea.
Yeah.
I jumped in, right, and I screamed, "Oh my god, the water is salty!"
Oh, okay.
Everyone is like, okay, where is she from?
Oh,
Yeah, I was
wow.
even going to think, like, did you know how to swim? Or you had swimming escapes
Does it-
with your friends?
yeah,
so you
a little
knew
bit,
water, but
yes.
not the salty water.
Yeah.
No,
in
and
fresh
everyone
water.
looked at me. I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's normal.
Yeah.
Because we are a landlocked country,
Yeah,
right?
and mountains and things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was hilarious, and everyone laughed. But anyway, so
Oh, that's,
yeah, that was
that's
funny.
That's so innocent, isn't it? And so
Yes.
beautiful. So,
Yeah.
how long were you in Holland for?
We stayed more than a year, I think, because the boat was underbuilt. So we would, go and measure the cupboard, and and then all the inventory, my chief stewardess was so beautiful. She would, she was teaching me, but at the same time giving me the challenges, like give me a responsibility. So you are in charge of the store warehouse. So you are you are the one, so you have to keep an eye on who takes out what and what comes in.
Ah, yes.
And when someone gives you that responsibility,
Yes.
maybe
Yeah.
it matters.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
What you're doing.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It
Just
sounds
doing
like
bit
a
of
very conscious
responsibility.
company,
Yeah.
like that whole immersion into the lifestyle of what it means to be living in that world. And then, because what I was going to say is, how did it feel when you stepped onto the super yacht for the first time, like on the water? And was that...
It was it's just like mind-blowing. And it's literally, it's not just using the word of mind-blowing, but literally every day it felt like I'm just dreaming.
Yeah.
Because I would never think of, from coming from that background, I could never ever escape that, and to be able to get where I was.
Yeah.
And and it took me whole year, because back home we were brought up saying the white people, we don't want to be friend with them. I was lectured before I left home, you don't want to mingle with them too much because they have their different values and we have different values, and don't make a boyfriend or because because on this side of the world we are free to explore sexuality and all these things, but back home it's like no.
Yes.
So stay away from white people. So
Don't catch that Jamie culture.
yes, no, but my crew, they did not mind. They were so wonderful. They were just like, accepted because I wanted not to drink or whatever. And sometimes we would go to the bar and they would nicely, kindly order me apple shots. And everyone would get shots. But then, and then barman would be like, what, apple shots?
That's so
You're
sweet,
the last
isn't it?
one standing.
Yeah,
And
not being pushed or not feeling
No.
like you had to, you know, join in or whatever. I mean, you'd been through that much on your own already.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it just and every night I would go home before 10,
Yeah.
and my chief stewardess or my boss, it's my husband. I met him on my first boat.
Oh, really?
Oh, no way. I was about to ask, how did you get
Yes,
to Australia? So
yeah.
this is perfect segue.
Yeah.
So,
So they would always make sure that I would get home with somebody. So they would drop me off home and then they would go back partying again. So, you know,
Fabulous.
yes.
wow.
So being from, kind of like the contrast is like from being totally disempowered and worthless,
Yes.
feelings of being worthless, to being empowered and seen and respected for your choices.
Yes.
So
And supported in
Yes.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a year later, and I'm like, I was reflecting on my friends and everybody. These white people are not bad after
Yeah.
all, you know?
It's
They're
funny,
really
yeah.
beautiful. So, when I turned 27 and I start partying.
yeah.
Whoa, that sudden return
yes.
Yes.
You'll love that
She's like,
27
"I'm ready
year.
now."
Yeah, and all my friends were 16 years old, right?
Oh.
We would go out partying crazy.
Yeah.
But
So
then
say that again. You're 27 and they were 16 or 60?
16.
16.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yes.
So you were like
Yes.
rediscovering yourself as a
Yes,
16-year-old.
but I think my friends are like already 16. They partied and they already enough of drinking and how it is clubbing and
Yeah.
dancing with boys. They all done it, right? So
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
like chill, and just chill.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I'm like,
Yay! I'm free!
but one time, one of my friend, she's beautiful. She's English, and she was so mature for her age, 16 years old. But she said to me, and I don't know if she saw me, getting a little bit harassed on the dance floor, and then she said, Ange, you can say no if you don't want to dance with someone. And I was like, I can say no to men,
Wow.
and I can say no to men, and that was like, oh my God, that was so,
Empowering.
yes,
Yeah.
it was. It was
Life-changing.
like, yes, and that time I was like, I can say no to men on the dance floor. Ooh, I'm so,
Yeah.
I was like my nose was like big eye up, but
It must have been quite a
interesting when you see it like that.
because you to not have an ego about yourself, if you like, and then to have that opportunity to have a powerful choice must
Yes.
kind of like give you a bit of a pump to the ego to go,
Yes.
I am someone,
yes, no.
I'm worthy.
and then explore
Yes.
what
Yeah.
that means, you know.
And because I didn't, I felt like because when the mail comes, and you can't say no because that is how we were brought up,
Yeah.
right? So when mail says, you just nod, and that's it. And that is what I was, and when my friend said that to me, it was very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
So,
I just want to just I say like and just to what you were sharing before around the sex trafficking and the Nepalese woman being in demand. Do you feel like that is kind of something that goes with why, there's so many reasons, but do you think that
the cultural
permissiveness and the not
Yeah.
saying no and it would be part of
The
perhaps
girls,
the
yes,
demand for the Nepalese girls, which
and
is,
mostly because we, most of us are virgin.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then and most of them are illiterate,
yes.
from
Okay.
the disadvantaged community,
Mm-hmm.
and then family sells their own girls for the money,
Oh yes.
the
Okay.
parents, because of the financial issue. And the only thing is that even if we rescue them, the organization rescue them, the family and then community won't accept them as
because
they
then
are, or because they are
Yeah.
already involved in
Yeah.
like that.
Wow.
So that's why I want to, like support them in a different way as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Provide them their skill set.
So we are getting on. We're coming up to an hour. It's gone so quickly, but I do.
is it?
Yeah, I know how quick has that gone.
Yeah,
So I do just want to fast forward a little bit, just so we can
From party end.
yes,
Yes.
to probably how you come to live in Australia for
Yes.
starters, and also why you do what you do now, and how that all intertwines.
How that came to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
So on my first boat, I met my husband.
Yes.
So we would go out for long walks, and as a friend.
Yeah.
For
What can I ask? What nationality is he? Is he Australian?
Aussie.
Oh, he's Aussie.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
born and bred, or what you call?
Born and bred. Yeah.
Born and bred in Gold Coast.
Ah,
Aussie,
right.
true blue Aussie.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, I'm learning the slang of that.
Yeah.
Might not be right accent, but it's okay.
It's perfect.
Yes, so I met him there, but he taught me literally from how to use cutleries at the table,
wow, yeah.
to giving me the opportunity to taking me to a 5-star hotel to, he was like giving me every opportunity to experience all those things, and I was. And he would buy me Christian Louis Vuitton. I can't even say.
Yeah.
Dior and Louis Vuitton.
Yes,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
kind of brand, and he wouldn't see the same excitement on me, but I didn't know any difference,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Because I'm so basic,
Yeah.
and he would get disappointed sometimes, and but there was another side of our relationship was that. He obviously his girlfriends, he bought so many expensive things, and they're all so excited and happy, and when he did that for me, and I was
So
completely
innocent.
just no
Yeah.
expressions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's a nice bag.
Yeah.
Perfume. It's a
Yes.
nice perfume.
Yeah. Oh, that's Jimmy. It's called Jimmy Choo. Okay, thank you. And he took me to Milan on my 30th birthday. Not 30th. I was turning 30th. But yes, and it was, he gave me all those opportunities, and he taught me literally from table etiquette to everything, and and until today we're together, and yes, and
So you've changed him a little bit too, I imagine.
I sometimes it was very tempting to change him, but then last few years I realized people, you cannot change people.
Beautiful.
It's like holding
Yeah.
sand. The more you try to tighten it up, it will just slip away. And I had to learn to let him go. And then as I was working on myself past few years, what happened is that after I had my kids, I thought, when I joined the boat, I forgot all my, the pain from when I wanted to help women. I didn't find the voice to stand up for myself. All those things are gonna go away because we partied hard, right? And I forgot everything, and And after I had my kids, especially my daughter, first one, and he start knocking at me, hey, what happens if it happens to your daughter? And I could not let her go for sleepovers. I couldn't let her go for... I start having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And my husband said, you have to do something about it because it's affecting you and us. And then I start doing work on myself. And after I had my son, he challenged me a lot because he wouldn't confined to be a good little kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was always outside the box,
Yeah.
like, Mum, you didn't say that to me, so I am not going to do that. And, technically.
You didn't say, well, don't walk on the feet and walk on the grass and bare feet. You said, don't walk on the grass, and I'm like, I have bare feet, so I'll just do it this way
so
or something.
he is
so his way.
Yes, and he is very, very... like a few weeks ago, he's 10 years old. A few weeks ago, before he went to bed, he was crying, and I said, what happened? And he says, I don't know what my purpose is.
Oh, at 10, God love
Yes.
him.
Oh,
Yeah.
incredible beings,
Yeah.
aren't
And
they?
I said,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you that you are 30 years older, like with us, we're just, coming up, right? And he was already that, just enjoy your life for now. And
It will come.
yes, but fast forward. So after I had my children, it started triggering me everything, and I start doing meditation because I had to process through because I always hid my abuse and all those things, and and my parents disowned me after I married my husband, the white person.
Yeah.
So I miss my parents every day,
Yeah.
especially mum. But yeah, we didn't speak until this year.
Oh,
I went to
wow.
visit them.
Oh, amazing.
So last year, when the 3 years, 4 years ago, I started working on myself, and slowly I start going out to events. One of my friends, she took me out to events of future females. And my energy was like, oh my God, is this how it feels when you go out to like-minded people, or,
Yeah.
And when I came home, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I had to sit down and start writing. So I wrote all my ideas, or maybe I should start going more events and connect with people. And when I start doing that, last year I founded this page.
Yes.
And first time in my life, I felt it in my chest, in my stomach, everywhere. I was bawling my eyes out when I found
The
it.
fire had been lit within.
Yeah.
And I don't know business plan. I don't know all the rules and regulations. I just start putting my ideas in of what I wanted to create, being able to support women. But at the same time, because my background is as a women's health PT, and then I just did the nutrition as well, natural health. And so I was trying to help women like so many ways, but then I knew I wasn't helping them professionally. So if I could help them professionally, how amazing that would be. So I'm like, oh my God, I can make the platform where I can bring all the health and wellness practitioners together, and then bring the topic and then talk on that topic, and they're getting professional like talk, and it is empowering them to make their own decision. And I wanted to close the gap between the traditional and modern medicine as well.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. And then so bringing that all together, and then I realized how I can help the women in Nepal as well.
Because so what we've come onto now is, so when you came to Australia, you trained as a nutritionist.
Yeah, my husband enrolled me as a
so if you have too much energy, you need to
Cert 3 and 4, and yes, he is the one doing all the, he pushed me. So like they say, when you have a great partner, they push you to
grow into you.
Yes, and he always wanted me to be able to stand up for myself, but I didn't understand for a long time what that meant. One time he said, I wish you could see what I can see in you. When he said that back then, I didn't understand. It was like a riddle, but past year, I realized what he said that time. And it's so he has been huge support. We were having lots of because I start growing, and then he didn't understand what the way we were growing. For him it felt like we were growing apart. And then he started doing work on himself.
Beautiful.
And we feel so centered now. I don't feel I was because all the abandonment as well. My dad worked overseas for so long, right? And I have no idea how to deal with male. Or when he screamed at kids, I felt like I had to run away and hide in a corner. So how I used to get bitten at home as an oldest child as a punching bag. So we had to figure that, untangle all those things, and being able to express to him that when you scream like a little bit loud with the kids, I want to hide and run away from you. And then, but he thought, oh, she's upset with me for no reason. So we were like,
she's not agreeing with my authority. And there's just such a powerful powerful moment right there, and that and how you shared like how our traumas can be triggered by things that happen in our current days, but also in our relationships when we're misreading what we're each reacting to and what we're being triggered by, how that creates more disconnect, trauma and misunderstanding and escalates everything. So to have that gift of him choosing to work on himself as well in an effort to understand his confusion as well as to understand you, and to both be growing in yourselves but together.
But also the simplicity,
fabulous.
that's what I'm hearing. It's just the simplicity of your honesty and your vulnerability. It's like, I mean, we can all take away so much from that in itself. We're just being calm and being able to explain why I'm feeling this certain way, you know, and also having the understanding of your hubby, which, I mean, of course he's an amazing human because you're an amazing human.
And he sees you, so he must be.
It's so beautiful and special. And to also, the other thing I really want to, just for our listeners as well, you know, we talk a lot about why things happen in our life, you know, why, and you know, I know that we talk a lot about things always happen for a reason. And then you get back someone saying, but what if a girl gets raped? You know, how is that her fault? How can she? And it's like, well, it depends how you view it. And it depends what you do with that, you know. And what I see from your experience through life is that each downfall, if we look at it that way, you turned it around and made something into something else, something better. You learnt from it, or you took a step up from that. In every way. You never looked back and went, oh my God, how am I ever going to get from here to here? You just kept going.
I did have those moments.
Of course you did. But the resilience is so strong in you. It's so beautiful to listen to your story, and what you do now is a beautiful example of, you know, you're not where you come from. You know, you're always...
I think she is.
Well, yes.
It's the both, isn't it?
Yes, it's the both,
It's the magic. And I feel like what you just said before around the simplicity, the simplicity of it is in, we're talking around you here, but is in Ange's, I keep coming back to that word when you said you felt you were DUMB. It's not so much that you were DUMB, it's just that you had no ego. And so it got you to these, you know, that little 10-year-old who was stamping her feet and refusing to believe that you were cursed, got you to Holland, where a whole new world of being opened up, and then even at 27 discovering that you had an ego and that was okay as well, to where you stand now and being without ego, because of what children bring you. They strip you.
Children, and
I just see that beautiful ebb and flow between those.
Children and love for my husband.
Because
of that, I said to myself, if I don't start looking help or do work on myself, I'm going to lose him. And so I would be shaking when I had to speak up with him. I couldn't. I would be shaking, and if he says something back at me, it would be like, oh my God, this is the end of the life, that my heart is about to burst and all those things. And as the time went past, it got easier and easier to express to him, you know, and express to him. Actually, at the beginning, I started writing a letter to him because I couldn't speak. So I would write a letter to him. Yes, pages and what did I do now? He would say.
I love that. But he read it?
I don't know. Maybe he did. Yes.
It doesn't matter, but it's out of you. It's the main thing is that it's something that you got to communicate.
Yes.
Whether or not the receiver is receiving it.
Yes.
It changes something in yourself to release it, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So, since I start working, I start trying all this kinesiology and all those opening up towards those things. And my sister-in-law she does the kinesiology, right?
Amazing.
And then she called me, oh, I'm practicing, come in, let's try it. And we did, and I was bawling my eyes out. And she said, sorry, am I out of context here?
No, it's perfect.
Oh,
No,
no,
because
it's
again,
perfect.
it brings you to
Absolutely.
where you are now.
Yes,
It's so beautiful.
and she said, what's happening? Why are you crying? And I was telling all these stories to her, that how when my relatives, one of the girl got married, and she was like, please don't leave me, I don't want to go with a stranger, right? And the next day she comes see me, and she has blood all over, because obviously, and she doesn't know. And and I'm like, how is this fair for me in my head? Or someone getting married 30-40 years older guy, and she does not want to be there, and someone gets kidnapped just because she's pretty, and they get kidnapped, and when the parents find out that he works overseas, oh, okay, take our daughter. They were, all those things. It was inside me, accumulated, and I did not. And that is how, when I founded this page, how I can. Maybe I can give a voice to women. And so when I went to Nepal, I said to my dad, I'm coming for work.
Excellent.
Because I wanted to repair my relationship with my parents. My mom was still not talking. So when I went home, I hugged her. She was like this. But I went there for me. So when she was like that, it didn't hurt me, because I'm here to hug you. I don't expect you to hug me back, but that is okay. But our culture is not a hugging culture.
Right.
Yes. So we don't hug each other. It's the first time when I start hugging, I was like this.
Yeah.
No, don't hug me. Don't touch me. Didn't I just hug you enough?
It's difficult, isn't it?
And these days I'm hugging everybody,
Yeah.
because I'm so free.
beautiful.
I feel loved, and people feel so. So
Amazing. So, and even that statement, like, it's a double meaning. I'm coming for work, Dad. It's like work because you're a professional person.
Yes.
And there's work that you have in mind for why you're going back to Nepal as well. But also the work with the family, isn't it? So,
yes, it was. And so I interviewed with gynecologist, and then a pediatric nurse, how it is going. That is how I came to know that one of the teacher came with the wife for the birthing, and the wife gave birth. He found out it's a girl, so he left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's still happening.
That's still happening, yeah.
Because at the beginning you were explaining that to us. What was it around about finding out the gender of the child? Would you like to share that?
So, so when the parents in Nepal are still not allowed to know the gender because of the high risk of aborting baby girls. So what I'm trying to do with my platform is, as much as bringing the women in here together, health and wellness, because in here we have the resources, but we don't know enough. So being able to talk on the topic and just bringing that awareness and education, but as well as people are here so kind, and how we can, bring with the support in here, building here, how I can lean towards another side of the world, that the girls truly need help, right? And if, as little as if we raise $50, it is 1 month's salary for the girls, for one woman. Okay, so it's very powerful, right? So that's why with our event on the 8th of September, we are trying to bring all the women's health, wellness, and wellness practitioners together, but as well as, you know, people who would love to support women or our cause that we are supporting women in Nepal. So with Destiny Rescue, they rescues the girls, and the another organization is called Hairdressers Without Borders. So they teaches girls the hairdressing and then makeup and all those things.
Oh, wow.
And they are trying to build their own organization in Nepal. So, and they travel around everywhere. So one day, I'm wishing one day I will get to go on a field with them.
Yeah,
so that
wow.
was so cool.
That's so amazing. I
it's
also just
incredible.
want to bring up,
Yeah,
let's
quickly.
open our little, we got a gift this morning, so you can share to our listeners what this is about as well.
Oh, yes. So
Beautiful.
I have pink.
Tissue is
That's,
Is it Gurung fit?
yes,
Yes.
Gurung fit.
Gurung fit?
Yes.
And what does Gurung fit?
So Gurung is my maiden name,
Beautiful.
right? And my beautiful husband, he has such a creative mind
Yeah.
and such a big heart. So he so he did this Gurung
love
fit
this.
with my and then
This
lotus.
is the logo. Oh, it's the lotus.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
because
I thought it was the lotus, yeah.
yeah, because he
Thank you.
didn't know at that time which side I would lean into.
Yeah.
Which side, if I go to full on fitness or if I go to wellness side.
Yes.
So he come up with to balance it.
Oh,
So he wanted to do that.
that is so
and-
beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he always makes me cry with the beautiful actions. He chose our kid's name Nepalese as well
Oh, beautiful.
because
Yeah,
and
this means so
I
much.
never thought, like I would find somebody that who would
Brace. I was going to say that.
Yes, and he would always check on me if I had called my parents every week.
Yeah. Wow. I
because-
just love that you've had like an amazing, first of all, a father who didn't settle for having a girl and was
Yes.
able to send you off to uni and do all those wonderful things and to the city. And then you've met a husband who is embracing all of who you
Yes.
really are. Like you really do have such a
So
magnificent purpose on the planet.
yes,
truly.
so
Yeah.
because of them, I am here.
Yeah.
Because yes, it is women's health platform, but
Yeah.
it's where my drive is. But the people behind it is not male or female, but everybody.
Yeah.
Right? They all played such a huge role in my life to be where I'm here today.
Yeah.
And all the girls now coming to help me out for this event.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And they just want to help me out, and they just can't wait to see where I will go and how it will turn out,
Yes.
and they're like, we just want to see where you will go,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course.
yes, but it sounds like a long shot for me to, for the event in September. We just opened, the platform is only 1 year old.
Yeah.
In 1 year, and we are expecting 200 people to come over.
Yeah.
And that's a big shot. But I feel very hopeful. And we will see how it will turn up. And like my husband says, if no one comes, we will invite lots of people.
Yeah.
We'll come.
And we will
We're
put
there.
all these stands and everything, and we will figure it out.
Yeah.
So he's like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
And,
I think
yeah.
it's more about your vision than anything else.
Yes.
Yes, to support.
And the high purpose of
Yeah.
what it is all in support of.
Yes,
Yeah.
and next year, so we are trying to, because few practitioners showed interest in going over to Nepal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that is what I'm planning, to
Yeah.
take some of the practitioners and go over. And then I have a friend who runs her own non-for-profit organization over there. She provides a housing for single mothers.
Wow.
So she has already sent me all the details, the plans, all those things, how we can stop at the different village on the way
Yes.
and provide a free health checkup
Amazing.
for people in a village or around the school. In a school, we will make a hub at school, and people can come at school and
Wow.
and do that. And we are doing expo next year
Yay.
instead of event, so people can directly connect with the people, right? The practitioners get to show who they really are, what they have to offer, and that connection between the people and the practitioners, I think that is magical.
So magical.
I think people get to truly know the practitioners instead of just the event practitioners themselves.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the people are going to come to us, not the practitioner. Yes, we are connecting and we are putting the words out there for each other. But at the same time, when we can bring the people directly to the practitioners.
Well, you're creating a community of practitioners, and that, it's wonderful for practitioners to have community as well as how they're supporting community. And then what you're also flowing that into is the community in Nepal that everyone is able to support and help to, do so much good. Hopefully it will be an amazing journey for everybody to better support each other on and make a difference.
Yes. So it doesn't have to be massive. And on the day, the people the guests will be donating directly to the organization, not to us. But, and I would like to come from that space of no pressure.
Yes.
Because many times I go to event, make sure you pay, or make sure you did this and that, or you got your raffle ticket, and you already paid $160 to come there, and you expect me to pay another $50, another $100. We all in that space at the moment, that little bit of struggle, right?
Yes.
So even $10 or even $20, because it is such a big value back home in Nepal. So I think when it comes from the heart, no matter how much it is, that is the most valuable. Than feeling pressure to donate, and then you're feeling, I don't really want to do that. I didn't want to come here for, you know what I mean?
This is turning into a salesy thing rather than. And I love what you just said around the heart, because there's certain places in the world, like with the energy lines and the grid lines, the way that they work, that we're all connected. Nepal for me is one of those countries that has. I'd be interesting to explore another time with you the spirit centre of Nepal. There's such a spiritual centre there for the world, and I think for that investment of care and love and support and changing what you're wanting to change around girls' lives in the culture there, which will help everybody.
Yes.
What that will
Absolutely.
ripple back out to in the world, through the healing that can occur in Nepal. And I know a lot of people have tried to do different things in Nepal and are doing different things, but there seems to be such a great need.
Yes. And like my husband says, we can start saying we will stick to Nepal, but there are lots of girls who needs your service around the world. So don't make yourself just exist in Nepal. You say around the world, make an impact in women around the world. So he always gives me this big vision. I was like, I was supposed to say around the world. I was like, yes, dear.
That's really beautiful. We will put. We're going to put all of the information at the bottom of the show notes for our guests if they're
amazing. It's a lot of information.
A lot of information. It's fantastic. We love information.
Very exciting.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today on Girl
you
Awakening.
So much.
It's been really, really beautiful and amazing, and a definite first for us as well.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful connection. It's I start being very conscious about connecting with the like-minded people. So when you're connecting with the similar energy, and it doesn't feel nerve-wracking or it doesn't feel draining. It just goes smoothly, and that is what you have given me. And thank you for holding space for me. And I was feeling a bit emotional at the beginning, but it's because I share my story to bring the awareness these days. That's why it doesn't feel as I feel emotional, but but yes,
it's
because
for a higher purpose. And
yes.
it's of you, but it's for more than you as well.
Comes from a new space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So thank you for
Thank you so
coming
much.
in.
Holy Spirit, she comes in my dreams.
Thank you for listening to our Girl Awakening podcast. We are also on YouTube as Girl Awakening. We'd love to see you there with comments on how our guests resonated with you or your own awakening. Please share the love with a like and subscribe while you're there. A blissful thank you to Ksenia Luki, the amazing artist behind our theme song. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.